Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute since I have recorded anything for my personal YouTube channel, and I want to thank you for stopping by. This project was started well over a month ago. It actually started getting the things for it a couple weeks before we were put on social distancing or self-quarantine, and so with everything going on in the world right now, I'm really grateful that I have this garden. It's something that I look forward to, and I hope that if you're watching this right now that you're in good health. So when you get a stock tank, if you're planning to turn it into a garden, you need to drill holes in it. It's watertight because people use it for like their livestock, and they put food and water and stuff in there. I was using a smaller bit, and then it was taking way too long, so I switched over to this. I don't know what it's called, but it made bigger holes, and so I only did 3 holes for drainage. And as you can see, I had these other smaller holes going, and that was from the other bit, and it just took way too long, so I switched over to this and made the process a little bit faster. Now, instead of just placing the stock tank directly on the ground, I decided to place them on top of these pavers just to give it a little bit better drainage. Also, I wanted to show you guys where I put it at in my yard. I have a sprinkler system, so I made sure not to cover my sprinkler system. So just a heads up, if you're planning to do this, make sure you're aware of where your sprinkler heads are so you're not messing anything up. So since good soil can get really pricey, to fill this big stock tank up, I put my recycling in first to kind of as a filler. It also helps with drainage. And then I placed a layer of Amazon boxes. I could be doing this all wrong, but it worked. Oh, there's my daughter. She came out to see what I was doing. From there, I just started filling up my stock tank with some Miracle-Gro potting soil. And then there was another one, type of soil that I placed in there. This one is a gardening soil, but there was another one I put in. It's right here. It's this humus manure stuff. So obviously manure is a good source of fertilizer, but I was really concerned because it said for in-ground use, and I was putting it in a stock tank. But I feel like my plants are thriving, so I don't know. And if you hear that meowing, that's my cat. He's going nuts right now. He wants to come into the room. Once I got all the soil added, I just made sure I mixed it all up between the Miracle-Gro gardening soil and this whatever humus manure soil. I just made sure I mixed everything up really well for the plants. Now, I am not like a professional grower. This is probably one of my second attempts to ever do a garden. But if I'm doing something wrong, or if you have some tips for me, let me know. I also had this plant that was hanging that was not living its best life hanging. I think it's actually supposed to be in the ground. So what I did was I transferred it to a bigger pot. I have 2 of these plants. One is doing really good in a terracotta pot, but the one that's in that white plastic pot is just not doing well. But I went ahead and transplanted it because I wanted to put my cherry tomatoes into the hanging pot. Once I was done with that, I kind of laid out where I wanted all my stuff to go first before I start digging up. I wanted to make sure I had room. And so once I kind of looked at it and saw where I wanted it, I started digging and putting it in. This is the small cherry tomato plant that I was talking about that I put into that basket, or that hanging basket. But the front part of this is going to be all lettuce. So one tip I'll give you is with the lettuce is it will tell you on the back, or even anything that you're growing, the back of the seeds package will tell you where you should be growing at what time. I live in Texas, and so there's a certain time I should be planting certain plants. So kind of use that as a gauge to see if you're planting the right stuff during the right season, so that your garden can be successful. So each of the things I planted, they have a little tag on them, and it'll tell you how far apart they should be from other plants and how deep you need to dig the plant in. Each plant is different, and I honestly probably are making mistakes along the way, but this is what I did today. And if you are on this date, if you look at my garden, which you're gonna see an update at towards the end of this video, I'm so impressed with where my garden is going. I was so impressed and having such a good time with it that my husband went and bought another stock tank for me, and I now have 2 stock tank gardens. Now, moving on to the lettuce, there's some things that I want to point out that I probably should have done differently. When I was laying this out, I just made a little trench and just kind of dumped seeds, trying to like eyeball and be like, okay, maybe there's 3 seeds in this spot, 4 seeds, but there was no real rhyme or reason besides dumping them into this little trench. And so there's some overcrowding. So when I did my second stock tank garden, I just made sure I did like a finger width deep or whatever and placed like 2 seeds in there versus having so many seeds like gathered and stuck together, because that's not good when you have overcrowding. And then whenever I did the second stock tank garden, I also made sure that I had an inch or 2 between each little seed that I planted. So that's just my tip moving forward. You'll see as I show you my updated garden what my lettuce situation is looking like. So as you can see, I dumped multiple seeds in like little areas. So there's a lot of overcrowding of my lettuce. But I mean, I will say that they are doing fine as of right now. But I just have to say, doing this garden has brought me so much joy. Waking up in the morning, coming out to see what's there, and I mean, changes are happening overnight, and it's just really cool how every day I can come out and see something different. A new sprout coming up, a new tomato coming out, a new jalapeno. It just never looks the same from day to day, and I think that's really cool. So once I got everything planted, I went ahead and gave everything a nice water. Now I didn't have a lot of stuff I planted, but I didn't want to overwhelm myself with too many different plants. And I don't know, I don't work well when I feel overwhelmed. So I wanted to keep it really simple. I did have some extra like terracotta plants and some extra old seedlings. And they were like, when I say old, they were really old, and I thought I'd give it a shot and see if they would sprout anything, but they didn't. So like in this first 2 terracotta plants, I put 2 different types of tomatoes that I had from seeds like a long time ago, and they just, nothing came of it a couple weeks later. And so I switched it out and put a different tomato plant in there. But I think they would have been so pretty if they would have made it. It was like this red and yellow tomato and then like a green tomato, and I love fried green tomatoes. I also planted some herbs that I had like little seeds like laying around from a long time ago when I had a garden or tried to do a garden for the first time. and nothing came of those. But just so you know, seeds do have an expiration. After they'll stay on the back of the package. Sometimes you'll get something out of it, but a lot of times they don't. So this was my garden, what it looked like a few weeks later. I think it was like maybe 2 weeks or something like that. And I had like little lettuce leaves sprouting, and things were just getting bigger. And I cannot wait till you guys see, because if you see further on, you'll see what my garden looks like. But look at my little cucumber plants. They're just doing so well. I'm super excited. So I'm also showing you guys my lettuce so you can see why I was talking about, or what I was talking about when I said I overcrowded. There's just a lot of bunches of little lettuce, and as time goes on, we'll see what makes it and what doesn't. But so far they're doing okay. And here's my little cherry tomato plant, and it's doing really well in this little hanging basket. Today I've got, I can't wait to show you guys, but I got like little bitty tomatoes when I checked on it this morning. I have little bitty tomatoes starting to come out. So this is my garden, I think a week ago. So I think it's like a month in total maybe. And my cherry tomato plant is so much bigger now. And look at all those little yellow flowers. Those are potential cherry tomatoes. My jalapeno plant is getting super big already. You can see all the little flower buds because I'm about to have some jalapenos coming in, y'all. And then my cucumber is doing really well, and I wanted to get something for it to climb up on. For right now, I had put this like tomato cage around it, but I have since gone and gotten like a little lattice for it to climb up on. Yeah, but it's getting big, guys. It's curling, got the little curly cues coming out of it. And then there's my other jalapeno plant, and it's just really exciting to see everything growing. So this is my other cherry tomato on the other side. I have 2 hanging cherry tomato baskets, and it's doing okay. It's got some flowers, but not as much as my other one does. And this is the second stock tank garden that I have that my husband got me. So right here I planted these Cherokee purple tomatoes. They just looked really cool. So I don't have really anything yet that looks like it's gonna bud off like a little tomato or anything like that, but I'm really excited for when it does because it looks really cool. I also planted like in the center, or right there's my like bottleneck squash or crooked neck squash. It's not looking really good. I don't know. I might have to take it out and put something else there. And then I just put some more lettuce down, and then in the back I put like 3 little sweet pea seeds down to see what would come of that. But yeah, this is my little garden, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. I've picked up a few other things along the way, like some herbs and stuff. I want to do like a container that just has herbs in, and actually the thyme would grow really well in the front yard, like in a flower bed. This is just another tomato plant that I picked up. It's designed to be in a container, so I wanted to see how that would go. And it's doing really well. I have like a little bitty tomato coming out already, but it's just so cool to see where this garden started and where it's going, and I'm just really excited to keep adding to it. It's been a really good source of relaxation from the craziness that's going on right now, and I'm just really glad that I have that in my plants to kind of mess around with, to kind of keep my mind busy. And it's just always exciting to see things grow. I mean, at least that's how I feel. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one.